Hi peeps, Junction 6 here, and I'm in winter Melanovkov, and let me tell you, it is absolutely freezing. It's currently minus 14 with a wind chill factor of about minus 20 on top of that. It's not a very nice place. So why have I come here? What am I doing in this desolate, windswept, freezing place? Well, I'm here to tell you a story, a very little known story about four guys and what they achieved here. Obviously, I won't be able to pronounce their names because they're Russian, so we'll just call them the A-Team. Google it, you guys who are too young to know. These guys were special forces and part of an elite team of disruptors, blowing up bridges, destroying wells, sabotaging food, turning signs round, all the stuff to stop the advance of the German army. After clearing out the civilian population, they set about hatching a plan based on the Trojan horse. Melanovka is quite unique in the fact that it has two churches for such a small village. They have this wooden church in the centre of town and this brick-built church on the outskirts of town. This brick church was gifted to them by a cousin of the Tsar before the revolution. The trouble is, being made of brick, it was far too cold in winter and far too hot in summer. The locals hardly ever used this church, and after the revolution, the locals took all the pews and fittings from the church and put them into their old church. This was used as a storage room. The team leader, we'll call him Hannibal, ordered his men to destroy all the brick buildings because he was aware that the German troops would rather stay in brick buildings. He also got his troops to scupper the whaling ship. Every brick building was damaged or destroyed. The barns containing the food were also destroyed. This would give the impression to the oncoming Germans that the disruptors had been here. They left all the habitable buildings, but underneath the floorboards they placed explosive charges along with barrels of fuel. That would turn these buildings into tinder boxes. The fuse wires were led back to 3 locations. The first location was this. They built this themselves. They used corrugated tin roofing covered in soil and then hosed down with water which froze like concrete. They then boarded the windows and applied water to those as well as the doors, sealing 2 of their guys inside, Hannibal and Face. Mr. T took up a location here, digging himself a trench and covering himself. While Mad Dog Murdoch, he hid in a small cave behind this rock. All of them had their detonators ready. All they had to do is wait for the oncoming German troops. And about an hour before sunset, the first of 10 tigers rolled into town. At first they looked to the church. They wanted to set up a camp there. However, they could see it was destroyed. This was a site they were used to. Destroyed barns and empty villages. They approached cautiously, never knowing if there was going to be a booby trap. But they noticed that this village had been left in a hurry. So they set up 2 tigers, one either side of the church in town, overlooking the fishing port area. Another tiger was dispatched to the northern area by the windmill to overlook this area. Yet another one went to the eastern side, and its crew took up a position in this lookout tower. A 5th tiger was dispatched to the west to cover the approach which they had come from. The remaining 5 tigers stayed in the town. The commandant billeted himself in the church, while the rest of his men billeted themselves in all the available housing. This was luxury to them. They had spent 5-6 days in their tanks in this freezing condition. A warm bed and some food was very welcome indeed. They had a radio message saying a supply convoy would be with them within 12 hours, but they knew it would be nearer 36 hours. At 11:45 p.m, they turned over their Tiger's engines, and by 1:30 a.m. they were all asleep. At 2:05 a.m, all hell broke loose as Hannibal and his team detonated their explosives. All these houses burst into flames and explosions rang out into the quiet night. Hannibal and his team mounted their heavy machine guns and sprayed the area, the red glow of fire lighting their way. Within 5 minutes, all that could be heard was the crackling sound of the fires. Then suddenly, the silence was broken as a tiger burst into life. It headed down over the frozen lakes. This was a mistake. It plunged through the ice and all its crew were lost. Hannibal and his small team had managed to capture 9 fully operational Tiger tanks. They also managed to capture the supply convoy, and this would be the turning point on Germany's Eastern Front. This tree marks the spot that is the furthest east any German tank got into Russian territory.